Hello, my darling cupies. So just a few small updates. I did a ancestry test thing, and I'm going to be shipping it out. So there's that. I have I have finally consolidated and organized all of my yarns. So here's a bag of yarns. There's a bag of yarns that are my reserves. That's just a bag full of a wee little ball of yarn to keep it from getting tangled up with the other ones, because it's just so small it just won't stay balled up. And then on this, I've got all my spools of crochet thread, including my miniature spools, which are good for making about 3 Irish lace motifs each, I've noticed. So yeah, if it's the Irish rose one with the double picot, that is. And then I've got some new colors of crochet thread. I've got a system here, as you guys can see. The tiny spools, the ones I use less, go on the very back. And as you can see, I've got a few dresses hanging on it. It's a drying rack, actually. And it disassembles, which is how I threaded the spools on, see? And I took and recycled one of those fast food cup holders. I cut it into bits to kind of act as dividers between them so the strings don't get all tangled with each other. I don't know, I kind of feel kind of genius about this one. I'm not gonna lie, not to toot my own horn, but I don't know, I felt kind of innovative. Now, there are no dividers between the wee ones, but that's just because if I'm using any of them, I'm gonna end up putting an individual spacer between it before I end up using it. And I've already got one, and I just place it there before I use it and then remove it after I'm done using it. So yeah, it's a much simpler system for that because of how much smaller they are. For that, I literally can just use this slap bracelet as a divider and space it between whichever two I need to isolate the specific spool that I'm using. Which is highly unlikely because I hardly ever use those little itty bitty spools. Admittedly, I bought them off of Amazon to get to the hooks that were in the set. I honestly thought the spools would be bigger, and then they arrived, and I was like, oh, these are itty bitty, they're so wee little. And I'm like, what am I to do with this? Anywho, so I've also got this this deep red, and then I've got this regular red. This one I've had. The ones that I had for a while now would include this regular red, this off-white, this big white one, this other white one, and this black one. And in the past 2 days to it, I have added emerald, snow pea, ice blue, bloody hell, I forget the name of this shade of yellow. I can't pronounce the shade of red. Can't remember that shade of red. Peach blossom, I think it was. And rose quartz. Yeah, I remember the color for the rose quartz. So that's just a wee update on that. I've got this itty bitty little basket full of the buttons from the back of the dress. So I have already popped off the buttons from the back of the dress. To kind of help with the beginning of my work. Sorry that my camera work is so sloppy. I haven't got a tripod again. My sister kind of took it. Yeah, but it'd be like that. But anywho, I absolutely did take all the buttons off the back of the dress. All the buttons. Because you see, what the problem with the buttons is, they're in the way of what I'm planning on doing with the lace. But furthermore, they're additionally in the way of any cleaning work I should do. Like, look at that. The thing is, I can't clean it with the buttons in place or else it'll rust out the buttons. And completely ruin the buttons and the garment. And it would just be an absolute nightmare. So I removed all the buttons. Luckily, though, I've got these loops on the other side that'll help me line them back up. Plus, there's like these permanent indentations from where they've been resting for the last 80 years. So there's that. I've also begun the process of removing some of the lace trim as well. I'm trying to do it as delicately as possible with as little damage as possible, but I'm not having nearly as much success as I would like. Like I said, this lace is incredibly delicate. Like the tiniest little bit of touch, it just feels like it's trying to disintegrate. It's just such a delicate lace. And it's just like I'm trying my best to preserve it and to mend it and to repurpose it because I don't want it to be this major portion of this dress because I'm going to be stressed about its deterioration for the rest of my life. It's just so delicate. And the thing is I can tell that it's machine made. That's why it's so delicate. Handmade thread is, handmade lace is so much more robust. But yes, I'm trying to remove it in such a way that leaves the seam here crisp so that I can attach the replacement lace. But additionally, I'm trying to keep it as intact as possible to also use it as a reference to measure my length of lace against as well. So for this portion, I'm going to be using the white and off-white particularly for the laces. To make the little motifs. The tinier spools are smaller gauge, so the tiny spool, because up here on the centermost rung are my tiny spools that are more used. So over here, the ones that do have spacers full time, and you can't see, are the ones that get more used because they're more basic colors, and I already have projects that they're being used for. Like this one's the off-white. It's a smaller gauge than the other off-white, which would make it a smaller motif, which would make it perfect, absolutely perfect, to be the end pieces for right here where it starts on either side of the garment for the train, where it attaches to the skirt. Isn't that just brilliant? And then I've got a wee bit of plastic here. It's quite see-through as a divider between the wee spool of black and the regular white. And then, of course, another one of my bits of recycled cup holder between the off-white and the white. So those are the full-time spools that get used. And so those get full-time dividers. The rest of the spools only sometimes get dividers. And I'm also making dividers out of reused and repurposed toilet paper rolls cut up and paper towel rolls cut up. Basically, it's like I crochet, but I recycle a great deal whilst I'm doing so. It's like my grocery bags are also repurposed for the sake of crochet. They are actually my starter for my balls of yarn. I ball them up because my hands hurt too much to try to start out like with this little tiny crumpled up bit of yarn that I'm trying to turn into a ball. So I'll ball up a shopping bag and wrap the yarn around it, and it gives me something more substantial to grip, making it more manageable to ball up my yarn, which makes it, tangle up less and keeps it more organized versus having it in skein form. And then I use bobby pins to kind of pin the tails in place. I also use hair clips for this purpose as well. Very helpful. Very helpful hack. So I've got all my yarn balled, untangled, sorted, and consolidated. And it is all ready for all of my projects this summer. Oh, golly, I'm so excited. So that's just an update on that. And then I'm also going to update you guys on this. Golly, I'm making a mess. I've fallen behind horribly on my temperature blanket, but I've been writing down the records of the temperatures in my planner book, though, on a daily basis. So I'll be able to catch back up this summer, luckily. But yeah, I have the entirety of April to catch up on, and May. Oops. School gets busy, and that's why it's important to write it down in the planner book what color each day will get based on the temperatures of that day. I'll write down the temperatures, and then I'll also additionally write down the color for the day. I write down both just to kind of keep it simple for myself to look back on. Nice little cheat sheet so I don't have to overthink or look back at the reference, be like, oh, wait, this temperature means what color? Yeah. So anywho, another project I've been working on lately. I actually ended up unraveling one of my projects that I've been working on since fall. It was my Taylor Swift dress. I unraveled it and consolidated it back into balls of yarn. So now it is actually amongst those. That is amongst my accomplishments there. I frogged that project and a few others that I know I will not ever actually complete, finish, wear, or, in other words, use in any other practical sense other than recycling the yarn. So that's where we're standing on that one. And here is the progress on my post-mortem doily. Now, this is like I said before, or maybe I didn't. My memory's kind of rubbish, especially as of lately. I've not been sleeping very much. I've been kind of going down an absolute rabbit hole. It's like, this has been my rest and reset week since classes ended. Well, today's Saturday, so a week ago yesterday was the official end. And so now it's like, I've got all this time and I'm just decompressing, and then I'm going to slowly ease back into studying through the summer. And I think I'm going to make it just like a couple days out of the week where I'll be like, okay, here's a couple hours I study this and a couple hours dedicated to that, rather than spending the whole day studying, because I feel like that's really abusive towards myself, and I have a tendency of pushing myself too hard, and then I burn myself out, and I really need to stop with that, because it's not going to do me any favors in the long run, even though in the short term it's what I want to do, because it's like, oh, I feel good at the moment and I can focus on this thing for the moment. So I'm going to push myself while I can until I push myself into, oh God, now I have to rest for several days to make up for that. So I'm going to start trying to be more mindful and listening to myself, my body, my mind and such, while I'm doing my projects, doing my crochet, learning. I've had a lot of history documentaries going on in the background while I crochet. Lots of busy work. Yeah, I know, I'm sitting in bed all day, so lazy and, what's the word, unhealthy to do, but it's been my rest week, and I have gone out. Like I said, yesterday and the day before, I bought a lot of thread. I also, oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost forgot to show you guys. It's too brilliant to not show you guys. I'm going to come over to the new good lighting, because we've got the sun. Okay, so I found these shoes at an antique shop for $25. And by God, they are the real deal. They're genuine. I would personally estimate that they're from about like if I were to give a blind guess without looking into it and personally like actually doing the deep dive that I plan on doing later on about them, which you guys will get. So here's what my predictions are, my personal guesses. as someone who just knows the bare minimum about fashion history when it comes to shoes. I'm not as well versed with shoes. I will admit it. But if I were to guess based on the appearance of it, I would think that it's from the 1910s or the 1920s, perhaps. These shoes. And they fit me, and they're in actually quite great shape. They just need a little bit of a shining up. That's a nice thing about leather. I don't know. I think that if you can find a way to make leather ethically, I think that it's actually a really valuable thing to have, because it's got a certain ability to hold up in ways that synthetic things can't. Like synthetic leather shoes, you can't really, what's the word? Revive them the same way you can revive a pair of genuine leather shoes. To kind of make my point. But those shoes, I'm calling them my witch shoes for one thing. They fit me. And for another, they're in really great shape. They're really quite comfortable, which I was genuinely shocked about. I don't know. I'm quite odd in that I like rigid, old-fashioned shoes. I find them more comfortable than the modern shoes. I don't know. I like rigid shoes. They only like dress shoes are my comfort shoes. Like, it's like, for the longest time, I didn't have house slippers. I used like leather hard-soled loafers. Like, I actually had a genuine pair of old man shoes as house slippers for literally years. And those were my best slippers. I still miss them, actually. I hate my current house slippers. They're comfy. They're great when it's winter, but they're rubbish the rest of the year round. And they also look quite rubbish, whereas the loafers I can get away with. I can wear them, and people will be like, "You're looking classy." And it's like, thanks, I'm wearing my house slippers and you'll never know it. I'm actually looking quite lazy. And that's the beauty of it. But I find them quite comfy. I don't know. I'm just insane. It's just the autism, I think. I just find that modern shoes are terribly uncomfortable. Terribly uncomfortable. They feel like tiny little feet saunas that suffocate. You know? It's like they're squeezing and suffocating my feet, but also drowning them in sweat, but also not keeping them warm at the same time. It's like, how are my toes numb but drenched in their own sweat at the same time? Please, God, make it make sense. Yeah, I'm good. One of these days, my goal is that once I am a medical professional, that I'll be able to pay people to make shoes for me the historic way. The authentic way, so that I can have my nice rigid dress shoes the way that I would like, because those are quite nice shoes. But I'm gonna wear them for my wedding. That's the point I was getting to. That was a very long-winded rant about shoes to get to that. Sorry. Yeah. So that's pretty much that. Actually, that's the only update I've got. On that end of things. Oh, I suppose I could update you guys on my GPA. What my GPA at the end of the term was. Because I can actually just like straight up pull that up and look. Because I feel like, that's a part of my journey too. And since I'm sharing, bits of my journey, my GPA for the 2025 spring semester, which has been my first semester, my freshman semester of college, is a 3.25. So I'm not as satisfied with that as I could be. It's not what I would like. But next year it'll be a 4.0, so help me God. Mark my words. You guys mark my words. I will eat my bonnet, okay? I will eat my frickin' bonnet. Not this one because it's my favorite. But like maybe this one. If I fall shy of a 4.0 within 5.5 points, I'm see a little bit of wiggle room, because I know my body is a hellish little bitch plotting against me. And the thing is I'm going to spend this summer gaslighting myself and reminding myself I just got to white knuckle it for a couple of years. Just a couple of years. I have to have the best grades. Just for a couple of years. Till I'm done with pre-med. Till I'm done here. And then I can get into a med school. I have to get to a med school in Ireland. That's it. I can't, the American weather, I just can't do it anymore. And I've been tracking the weather patterns of Ireland all year. And golly, it's quite ideal over there. It'll be ideal with my lupus and my health issues. I won't be dealing with my blood pressure being an issue. It won't be so difficult to exist that I'll be losing my limbs either, though. I also won't be dying because the sun's out. I have lupus. I'm basically a vampire with none of the perks. I'm a ginger with frickin' lupus. Oh my God, I'm a ginger with lupus. Vampire, no perks. I'm just basically allergic to the sun a little bit. It gives me this awful rash, and it itches, and it doesn't go away for days. It's horrible, and it causes a lot of inflammation in my body. My body will start to attack itself just because the sun exists. It's such a big crybaby. But yeah, so Ireland is the long-term plan. I just got to white knuckle it and survive in America in the meantime. Just for a couple of years. I can grit my teeth and bear a couple more years of this weather patterns. Hopefully. I'm also trying to line things up to get to study abroad for a semester. I might get to study at Oxford for a semester, which would be so huge. Oh my gosh. Could you guys imagine? That's one of the, as far as universities go, globally speaking, they're one of the most prestigious, but additionally, they are excellent as far as research goes. As far as universities on the front lines of doing research goes, they are pretty much the most reputable in that. So it's just oh my gosh. Wow. So it's this big thing that I might get to do, and I'm really hopeful, and that's even more reason I've got to really, really, really work hard. And it's that semester over in England. Look, I have nothing against the English people. I have everything against the English government. Everything. In fact, honestly, I just have everything against every government, frankly. They just suck. Why can't we just live in bartering communal villages? I'm tired of this modern life. It's supposed to be convenient, but it's actually quite depressing. It's miserable, actually. Do the paperwork. Here's some fake paper that means something in this arbitrary made-up world. But should this system collapse, this arbitrary piece of paper means nothing. We are, as a species, set up to fail catastrophically. That's terrifying. Not me, though. I'm built different. I sew, I cook, I mend, I clean, I can dress wounds. I'm studying to be a doctor, so that will be in its own right a good skill to have. I can do restorative work on most mechanical appliances. I have restored a 1930s brownie box camera by Kodak. I have also done a great deal of work restoring not one, but two Royal typewriters, one from the 1930s and the other from the 40s, both of which I had to fashion new parts for. Let's see. What else? I am good at repurposing things as well and recycling things, as you guys have seen. So it's like I have a lot of skills that would be helpful. It's just like the thing is that these skills are not taught. And the thing is, I feel like some of these things should be, because it's like if we want to survive as a species, putting all of our stock in learning how to understand this arbitrary system that is flimsy at best on a good day is a really stupid idea. I mean, it's as stupid as America propping up the Middle East and then pulling out and having it all collapse almost instantly. Like, society's kind of a bit of a scam right now. Don't you think? Like, we don't actually know anything useful or helpful. Like, as a majority, who gives a shit if I know, like some stupid fact about the laws of physics and shit, the laws of motion and such, things that we basically can just observe and just know. We don't need to have it defined and written down. I didn't know that we had to just have it straight up defined and that this suddenly means that you get to be written down in history as this amazing person or something. Like, congratulations, you pointed out the fucking obvious. I didn't know it needed to be pointed out. And then more people keep pointing out more obvious shit, and I'm sitting here like, should I start pointing out obvious shit too? Will I become a scientist this way? If I start pointing out obvious things I observe, will I become a significant scientist in history that people in the future will be like, look at this amazing thing that none of us ever realized? And then you realize, oh, this person was actually just neurospicy and the rest of everybody just doesn't realize to look at things that way. And then it clicks. The neurotypicals are running the world, even though they're not the ones built to be running it. They've built this very flimsy, nonsensical system that's doomed to fail. There's no logic behind it, and it's all arbitrary. It's all, okay, we decided this bloke's in charge, and we decided that this money means that is worth this much and is worth these and these terms. And here's how it's going to work, and here's all the rules, and here's the red tape, and here's the paperwork, and here's all of this, and here's all of that. Laws, rules, blah, 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 fine print, made up by a bunch of stuffy old white men. And then I'm here like, actually, I'd rather have my own farm, feed myself, live on my land, have my own little community, like my own little commune. And like, the rest of the world can literally sod off. Like, genuinely, I think money is an arbitrary, bullshit, rubbish thing. I don't care for money. First of all, paper money's rubbish. If anything, Coins are better because shiny. Okay? And they clink. Yeah, just so congratulations, guys. We have gone down the rabbit hole of me going from a structured video where I'm updating you guys on how I'm doing to unhinged ramblings about society and how much I hate the organized society that we live in. It's just so nonsense. It's like, what do you mean? I have to pay to drink water? You mean to say that if I don't give you money, I should go die in 3 days of dehydration? Like, it just doesn't make sense. We're charging for basic necessities. And that's like going against everything that we're supposed to be as a species. We're supposed to be communal species. This is not what God intended for us either. And it's just absolutely abhorrent. And it makes me want to slap a lot of people in the face. If I could time travel, I'd go back in time and start. I'd start with whoever's ruined everything and created what we have now. Because there are certain advancements that are marvelous and wonderful. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have a regulated system. However, it should be backed by something that actually means something. This money is meaningless. This rubbish piece of metal isn't even fucking... Like, my God, my pennies aren't even copper anymore. Like, it's a rubbish piece of metal. It just means nothing. It's just symbolic. It's symbolic. Sorry, Bridget. I know that's your coin. I was just showing. Anywho. It's just, I don't know. First of all, I would prefer a shiny rock over $1. The only reason I am forced to exist in this world where I actually do have to prioritize seeking and gaining money is literally because of the system I'm forced to live in which I need that money to fucking survive. And the moment that I no longer need that, the moment that I can sustain myself and live comfortably, you guys do not even know. But that's my goal. My goal, I live in Ireland. I'll have my own farm, my own little commune of polyamorous lesbians. The locals will think we're a lesbian witch cult. They can think what they want. I will be a doctor saving lives to kind of support and keep things running. And I will do a lot of things with spare money for good. Charitable things. Things that have staying power. Things that actually will better humanity and society. None of this rubbish shit. None of this, oh, look at this piece of paper. Well, guess what? You toss it out in the rain and it's rubbish. It's gone. What good is it then? You throw it in the wash. Now it's nothing. Just a waste. All that hard work for nothing. No. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a money system. I'm just saying that it should also be backed by a bartering system. There should be a dual system, in my opinion. I just feel like it would be better to bring bartering back into the front lines so that people are back to doing their own thing, their own self-sufficient thing. And I think that that would help a lot of people with their mental health as well. I think that that's a part of why people's mental health and why there's so many issues with drug abuse as well is because, okay, we've got all these people, they're stuck in this world where all they do is they rot at their 9 to 5, living in this horrible way in a very, very, very shoddy society that's barely held together and threatens to fall apart pretty regularly. I mean, every day we're wondering when the dollar is going to cease to even mean a thing. When will that $5 bill on my altar be a meaningless piece of paper that I could literally use to wipe the shite off my own ass? You know, so it's just like, but when you've got people crafting, growing food, making textiles, building houses, doing plumbing and electricity work, doing medical work, doing cleaning even. Just like, there are all these jobs that like can help build a more successful society. I feel like we could do so much more if we stopped relying so much on something as weak and flimsy as money. We should be putting our stock in something that actually holds value on its own right. You know? Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I've been thinking this way since I was a wee lass. Sorry, I was a wee lad once, and then I was also a wee lass once. So somehow I became lads. Gender fluid tales are fun, man. So yeah. That's basically like a bit my rambling, my waffling on for today. See, it's not really a vlog for me if I don't sit here and ramble at you guys like an unhinged, deranged lunatic. At least for half of the vlog. Okay, right? But yeah, like, money's not even backed by gold anymore. So like, what's the fucking point? Honestly, I look forward to the day when I get to live over there. I have my job, I have my community, my family that I'm building myself, my commune, basically. Oh, it's gonna be grand. Going to be so much sewing and crocheting and antiquing and restoring antiques and woodworking and farming. And of course, like I said, I'm also still going to practice medicine as long as my body will allow it. So yeah, it's going to be grand. And I'm going to live away from society because, honestly, how can you have a farm in the middle of society? No, you just can't do that. No. I'm going to have a castle. It's going to be on land. I'm going to have my own farm. And everyone else can sod off. Oh, I think my blood sugar is quite crashing, actually. I think it's about supper time now, isn't it? Oh, that's my cue to go then. If you guys actually watched the end, first of all, I am impressed. Because, oh my God, did I do a lot of rambling. Second of all, I promise you that I am not in any way inebriated. In spite of all the rambling. And third of all, yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you guys are having a marvelous day. Stay safe. Let me know what kind of projects you guys are doing, or what kind of projects or hobbies or skills you guys want to learn. What are things that you guys want to learn, or you guys wish society didn't completely leave behind in the past? For me, it's bartering. I wish that bartering was still central. But anywho, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. I love you. Until next time. Bye, my darling cupies.